can you please turn on the white noise machine before you leave? It helps me go to sleep.
Finally, I get to talk about this one episode. Buckle up, buckaroos, and don't forget to pack your milkshakes. Wait, and second thought, don't drink the milkshakes. The milkshakes are a lie. Hi, I'm Kitty Monk, and I'm here to talk to you about American Dad, or more specifically, Francine Smith. Now, American Dad often is singled out as Family Guy, but better, which I know I'm more of a fan of American Dad, but I don't always totally think that way. 98% of the time, it's just a sense of different tastes, like coffee versus tea, neither of which I actually enjoy. I prefer American Dad as I like wacky cartoon nonsense, but even I'll say that doesn't mean they're always better than Family Guy. Sometimes they can have a bad episode, or a super infamous one, and one of the modern quote-unquote bad episodes is Tapped Out, aka the one where we find out Francine has been secretly giving Steve her breast milk for years. Yeah. Speaking of, she looks pretty creamy for somebody who still lets the kid latch on. With a premise like this, you would expect me to hate it. After all, it seems like a one-note joke that was turned into an unnecessary episode like that BoJack episode that explained where their meat came from. Well, okay, look, I'll be honest, I'm kind of in the middle. This episode does make me laugh a little bit, and I can see how some people like it, but I also think it's super flawed, and it can be sort of grossed out at times. Plus, honestly, I am a pretty squeamish person. Still, let's see if this episode is pasteurized or not. So, let's discuss. Unlike Lois Griffin, Francine takes her role as a mother pretty seriously, especially in regards to Steve, because he's her youngest, and therefore her baby, despite the fact he's like 14, depending on the episode. But then again, she lost her oldest child to the wonders of not vaccinating him. Maybe she's compensating. One episode, Iced Babies, had Francine think that once Steve grows up, he'll forget her and she will be alone. Therefore, she begins to overwhelm him and smother him.
Bernie B wants to find his flower. Bzzz. Is this his flower? Bzzz. Bzzz. Bzzz.
Ah!
Which only causes him to abandon her more and more in favor of his new girlfriend. Self-fulfilling prophecy. Eventually, Stan tells Francine that it's natural for children to leave their parents, and Francine accepts Stan's advice for all of 5 minutes.
I'm all you have. What? Well, no girl will ever love you as much as Mommy. You can stay right here at home with Mommy forever.
Regardless, I don't mind that episode as much as I should. It makes it kinda clear that the ending is just meant to be taken as a joke, and a darkly funny one at that. Plus, if anything else happens, you know Stan is gonna be right there to stop it. And in some ways, he's kind of as bad as Francine, but in the other direction. Regardless, we still got moments between these two, like in Bully vs. Steve, but then again, it's mostly alright, as Steve is totally fine with it. It's a little too far, but for a mama's boy, it's not out of the ordinary, so who cares? This episode feels like the ending to Iced Babies if Francine never had that revelation. And they wrote a creepypasta on this episode that dialed it up to 11. Okay, this intro is long enough, I apologize. Let's actually discuss the episode. It starts off at the mall. Oh god, I hope it's not that mall. Where Francine is trying to buy Steve some back-to-school clothes. However, Francine's idea of appropriate clothes is a green onesie with a train on it. At least Klaus approves.
There's a caboose on your butt flap.
For your choo-choo poo-poos.
Oh my god, that's my favorite line in this episode. D. Bradley Baker, you're so awesome sauce. Klaus, I'm stealing that line. Much like in Iced Babies, Steve tries to gently tell his mom to lay off, as he's old enough and he can choose his own clothes, and they are not at Carter's anymore.
Mom, this is baby stuff. I'm gonna go see what the guys section has in the way of butt flaps.
Great, that sounds fun.
Actually, I was thinking, it's a new year, maybe it's time for a new me. A me who picks out his own clothes.
Ugh, Steve, I feel your pain. I used to be so petite that my parents shopped there for me until I was 7. Then my sister was born like a year later and we had to go back. plus, let's be real, all of the kids are gonna make fun of him for wearing a onesie, despite the ingenious idea of a choo-choo poo-poo flap. Oh my god, I can't get through that line without laughing. Strangely, Francine agrees with Steve and takes it in stride. Wait, what?
Why? Sure, Steve's growing up, but he's my son. We'll always have a special connection.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Still, Klaus is not convinced. I mean, have you seen what this woman has done? Would you be?
You're freaking! Mama's little boy is becoming a guy, and you can't handle it.
It's just the natural order of things, Klaus. Boys become guys.
And since the subplot sort of connects with the main plot, I'll talk about it in conjunction with what happens here. Stan and Roger are at the mall too, but strangely, Haley and Jeff aren't there. While there, Stan goes to the clearance section. Oh, the best part of the store next to the back corner, it's Spencer's. And he buys a bunch of shirts, among them a dapper-looking turtleneck.
Polo sport? Yes, please. So big. So yellow. It's a keeper.
Along with a bunch of other stuff that won't really be important to the episode. But the turtleneck, that's where it's at. Elsewhere, Steve goes searching and comes up with his own outfit, which I will dub the Tap outfit. But can it beat out a onesie? I mean, it will cut off the circulation to your little legs and your things, but how can you compete with the choo-choo poo-poos? Steve presents his new outfit to his mother, and she gives him her most honest of criticisms.
Mom?
I love it. You look like you probably have a kid from a previous marriage.
I see him more as a father who just turned 40 and realized his life is half over, or an uncle who never graduated from high school and wants to get in good with them kids. But as Francine promised Klaus this was as far as she was willing to go, she bites her tongue and allows Steve to buy it. Steve goes into school the next day with his new look.
Smith! What are you wearing?
And as expected, he gets made fun of, trapped in a locker, forced to participate in abstinence assemblies, the whole 9 yards. Absolutely incredible!
Because it looks so incredible on you! 3 cheers for his wonderful clothes!
Oh, well, there goes my jokes. You just ended my whole career, Steven. Shortly afterwards, Principal Lewis says they're having a school play based on Oedipus Rex. Oh, I love that book. And Steve wins the lead role, based on his outfit alone. With no audition, no nothing. He's like Timothy Chalamet.
Doesn't really concern low-profile kids like you are the star of my play! Tap out, you're the one! You're my Oedipus Rex! Auditions are cancelled.
Well, then again, it's no secret that Steve has the voice of an angel, and Lewis knows it. I think he would have landed the role even without the outfit.
Smith, you're gonna be the man this year. Don't make friends with the transfer students.
Wait a second. Isn't Oedipus Rex that incest thing about the dude who sleeps with his own mother and doesn't realize he was doing it for like years and then at the end he loses his eyeballs? I don't know. I just remember reading that book in high school and making Darth Vader jokes. Like, who's my real father, Mr. Sear? Is it Darth Vader? Later that night, Klaus is doing security stuff.
Klaus! Stop sneaking around!
But I'm the silent hero of this house.
No one asked you to do this.
Well, sorry, Haley, but what is Klaus supposed to do? He just sits around in a bowl or a shot glass, literally all day. You get to go to school, have a husband, possibly work, depending on what season this episode was produced for. I'm too lazy to Google. At least Klaus is doing something with his life, something productive. While on his cool golf cart doing his vigilante hero stuff, he notices a secret wall.
Light. Wow, it's gone. I'm seeing things. Must be tired. Oh!
Not a big deal. Stan did have a secret passageway for the express purpose of figure skating, and Roger has a pleasure dungeon and a recording studio. I don't think it's a big deal for the Smith family to convert the basement into purposes other than heaters, boilers, radiators, washer dryers. Still, Klaus is tempted to open it like frickin' Oedipus, and he comes upon a ghastly sight.
Oh, Francine, you milky marvel. You're a one-woman dairy farm.
Maybe Francine is simply donating her milk to needy mothers. I mean, come on.
What are you doing?
Sewing.
Oh no, she's doing something bad, isn't she? Oh no. As it turns out, Francine has never actually weaned Steve. She keeps her breast milk in storage and always sneaks it into Steve's food. That way she can keep up her bond with him.
I pump a little breast milk now and then and sneak it into Steve's food.
A little? You've got the pump turned all the way up to thirsty boy.
Oh, that's better. Sorry, I glitched there. Okay, so Francine is continuing to infantilize Steve, like beyond treating him like a mama's boy. The question is, why?
Because you know it's wrong.
It's completely natural. It's just that society doesn't understand.
Society doesn't understand. They understand, Francine. They understand how weird you are. It's too weird. Now, earlier I said I wasn't totally adverse to this episode. The main reason is I've seen it already, like years before. Way back in season 1. I think it was actually the season 1 finale. In Deacon Stan Jesus Man, Roger experienced his species' version of what I presume to be ovulation. I mean, they never actually say it, but that's pretty much what happened. He got PMS, hungry, and there was an egg involved. Good to know the luteal phase sucks for his species as well as ours. In that episode, Roger ate up all of the potato salad Francine made for the church potluck, courtesy of Klaus.
You set me up, Klaus! Why would you do something so awful?
I'm German. It's what we do.
And he used an unholy ingredient to replace it. His delicious alien boob slime, per Klaus. When both Stan and Karl Rove... Did it just get colder in here? Realized how much everybody enjoyed it. They kept treating Roger like livestock until he looked like this.
Stan, look what we're doing to Roger. We have to stop this.
We can't stop now. The election is tomorrow. Roger's fine.
Kill me.
I think it worked out well there because the point is made that the entire scenario is disgusting, but it's so disgusting you can't help but find it funny. They acknowledge it, and the episode is all about the characters reacting to it. Plus, Roger's an alien. However, here, it's a little more graphically realistic. Remember Liza Aaron and her son from Game of Thrones, where it's just viewed as another way she babies him? Well, that's what we get here, for 22 minutes. 22 uninterrupted minutes if you watch it on Hulu. If you watch it on TBS or Adult Swim, there's at least commercials. Maybe it would be better if it wasn't just Steve that Francine was doing this to. Like maybe she tried it once with Haley, but Haley got worse or she caught on. Or maybe she's been giving the entire family her milk and they all get appropriately mad at her for her little quirk. Francine wants Klaus not to tell Steve, and he agrees. Hey, that rhymes. For all of 5 seconds.
See? You have been drinking it, bro! So gross! Mom, why? With everything on my plate right now?
Oh, somebody's plate is gonna be empty. At least he's justified. Holy crap, I need a distraction from all of this craziness. Subplot! Somebody give me a subplot! Upstairs, Stan is trying on his new clothes when he notices that his turtleneck is too high.
Is this turtleneck too high up? Is it too much material?
Maybe your neck's not long enough. Maybe you just can't rock a turtleneck.
Take that back.
You're too lazy to just put it down? That's the whole point of turtlenecks. And how is it too big? Do you not see how thick your neck is? Granted, I guess it needs to be big to support a chin like that, or you'll just look like Katie Killjoy. Seriously though, why isn't there an episode about his chin? In another subplot, Roger becomes a director, which should be easy for him. He was previously Jeannie Gold, and that involved a film crew. Too bad this time he has no crew. He originally did, but then they tried to unionize, and for some reason that's apparently bad.
Turns out Alan was the little ringleader. I got nothing against unions. My daddy was a union man.
The next morning, Steve rightfully refuses food from his mother.
First day of rehearsal today. I want you to be ready. I made pancakes.
I will never accept food or drink from you again!
You go, Steve. Wait, is this why Francine was so upset that Steve was making his own food in morning mimosa? Not that he could be self-sufficient without her, but because he wasn't eating her food laced with her milk? Dude, you're insane!
How could you do this to me?
I didn't do it to you. I did it for you. I was gonna stop when everyone else did, but I forgot to Google it.
Francine, look, I hate to say this, but you did it to him.
First your eyes went bad. Next we found out you were allergic to bees. 3rd grade took you almost a year to complete.
So you can't just get him allergy shots or an EpiPen or LASIK surgery? No, better to sneak him and only him your bodily fluids. As it turns out, Francine is doing this because she's scared about what would happen if the milk suddenly went away.
Honey, at least let me cook you some eggs.
How do I know you didn't lay them yourself, Mother?
Good one, Steve. Instead, Steve decides he's going to drink some OJ.
Thank God for this prepackaged, not legally orange juice.
Okay, at least it goes with his outfit. I will allow it, and it's nice to see that Steve is making his own decisions for once in his own life. At school, Steve is starting to get acquainted with the other theater kids.
Welcome to high school theater. Here's what you need to know. We leave it all on the stage, and after every show, we go to Denny's and pour a bunch of sugar on the table.
Cool. I look forward to working with you.
Oh my god, Denny sounds fun, even if he owes me some money. Steve, just don't go into the men's room, or you will be forced to experience your worst fear on a loop. While Steve was initially excited, he soon starts to doze off.
Smith! Are you asleep?
Sorry, I don't know what's wrong. I'm just exhausted.
Maybe he's still tired from last night's revelation. And as we know, Principal Lewis takes anything he does seriously because he's Principal Lewis. You know, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to curse this whole video. It's just happening.
Right now it's called Oedipus Rocks, because the school board wouldn't let me call it Motherfucker.
Dude, the reason they did not allow you to use that title is simple. It would give away the whole twist. I mean, everybody already knows the twist by now. Even your own lyrics seem to spoil it. But you gotta preserve the illusion. That's the point of theater. Lewis notices Steve is dozing off, and he gives him a pep talk.
I drink nothing but ices until 11 p.m., then I have 1.5 gallons of jambalaya. I've never felt better.
Is that any good? Alistair made it seem like the bee's knees. Lewis tells Steve he must be perfect, or he's gonna hand him off to Mammon. I mean, imagine if he isn't perfect. You know Lewis has a strict policy on drugs for not taking them.
Also, I need this play to be an absolute success. So if it isn't, you're dead.
Steve starts to believe the reason he was dozing off was thanks to his mother no longer giving him his mommy milkers.
I need breast milk!
Ring-a-ding-ding.
Dang girl, look, out of curiosity, how are you keeping the supply up when both of your children are over the age of 13? I mean, I don't know how true this is, but I heard it is possible to produce breast milk if you aren't pregnant or never been through like stimulation or medications. Franny, was it a blessing for you when you were pregnant with Libby because it meant you did not have to try as hard anymore? Steve and Francine start to come up with a plan to keep Steve on the milk. That way, he's at full strength for the play.
Think we should wean me off gradually.
That's so smart. You're not a quitter, you're a wiener.
That's right. I am a lean, mean, weaning machine.
This is Halloween. This is Halloween. Sorry, I couldn't think of a good ween joke. I was maybe gonna do one about the band, but I know next to nothing about them. Roger is still despairing. He cannot find a documentary subject.
Roger, Linda Mamari's pet chimpanzee ripped Jeff's face off. The doctors were able to do a transplant, but there was only one face available.
Does this lead credence to the idea that Roger is Linda Mamari? It just seems like something he would do.
Is it noticeable, babe?
For the love of God, could one film-worthy thing happen around here?
Is that the chimp, aka the chimp who ripped off Jeff's face? Did they give Jeff the chimp's face as some form of justice? Still, Roger is not convinced, and he continues to wallow in despair.
All right, Smith, you better bring the goods. Or else!
Why can't Lewis just give this boy drugs if he's so worried about him? He has to for the good of the whole team. Speaking of, admittedly, despite this being Lewis's magnum opus, I will be the first to say that the lyrics suck.
Oedipus's mom has got it going on. She's all I want. And wait, did I say mom? I meant Oedipus's wife.
But if there's one thing Mean Girls the Musical taught me, the actual musical, not the stupid movie adaptation, it's that abysmal lyrics can indeed be saved by catchy tunes in a stellar cast. Elsewhere, Stan gets himself turtleneck ready by using African necklaces, while Roger tries to come up with some documentary ideas.
A documentary about living in a bathroom for a month. Call it Bathroom Man.
You know what? I would probably watch it. Maybe do one on a janitor. Just saying, in places like elementary schools, some janitors actually make more money than the teachers. I'm not even kidding. Steve decides that, you know what? Why not put his detoxification on hold? The milk seems to be having a positive effect, just like his mother said.
The play's the thing. And then we'll reassess.
Right.
Do we reassess whether we even need to reassess?
Yeah, speaking from experience, I mean, not breast milk, other experiences, he's never getting off that crap. I guess, as this is an American Dad sister show, at least Steve is drinking human milk and not horse jism. And at least the family aren't horse breeders now. Shortly afterwards, Klaus confronts Francine about what she's doing. You mean not that it's like weirdo semi-incest? As it turns out, Francine is sabotaging Steve. She put drowsy medications into his OJ shortly before he woke up, in order to get him to think it was the milk. I think she did something similar with her couple friends in Stanny Boy and Frantastic. It was on the other night.
And I've got the proof! Ha! You think that was my only copy?
Yes.
You're right.
Wait, he watches her do it? He doesn't think to stop her or transfer that to an iPhone or something like that? Or, you know, try to warn Steve? Finally, we get to the long-awaited opening night of the school play, which honestly, I wouldn't mind seeing. I think it's a pretty good idea. Oedipus Rex is a fun story, maybe put it to like rock and roll.
I think I see some scouts out there. 3 guys in the middle look like they're definitely from New York.
Oh, of course, Stan is such a D-bag that he has to sit in the front row with a neck like a giraffe. Before the play begins, Steve needs Francine to come backstage immediately. Immediately! Backstage? Yes. To the backstage? Yes, Francine has to go backstage right now!
I'll go see what he wants.
I can't do this. Why did I ever think I could do this?
Look, Steve, as somebody with anxiety, it's perfectly natural to be nervous before a big performance. My trick is to either be alone for a few minutes so you can mentally prepare, or repeat my mantra. Just relax and ease into it. Do the best you can do, whatever happens, happens. And stage fright is just another hurdle you can leap over. However, it seems like Steve, despite him being a natural-born performer, has no good routine in place. So instead, he needs the milk. But, oh my god, it's tapped out. I did it.
That's just nerves. Or maybe I need to burp you.
I'm not a baby! I don't need burps!
Steven, you are never too old to be burped. If you have to, do it yourself. How else do you think you can continue eating if you already feel full? As the idea of them going into Steve's dressing room is a foreign concept, and because Principal Lewis wants to start the play early, even if anybody can tell you that no Broadway show starts right on time, they always start at least 10 minutes after, stuff happens. No, my eyes, you're freaks, and not in a good way like in Shrek the Musical. Burn them now.
There's my movie!
At least some good came out of it. At least I lost my sanity for nothing. For the sin of being freaks, Francine and Steve are exiled into the basement. For the time being.
Mom tried to drop me off at school, and everyone threw rocks at us.
And at the grocery store, more rocks. It just seems like everybody's throwing rocks at us these days.
It isn't fair. It isn't right, Francine screamed, and then they were upon her. Francine believes that the problem isn't with her and the amishment she's subjecting Steve to. It's with society, because we live in a society.
As long as it shows everyone the truth, that long-term breastfeeding is perfectly natural. Then we won't be pariahs.
Yeah, no. See, the problem is not that you're weird, even if you are. It's that you're emotionally stunting Steve just on the virtue of trying to bond with him.
Quit holding out on me. You always have it on you.
When there's easier ways to spend time with him, just be there for him, provide him advice, or watch TV with him, accept his choices. Plus... Actually, you know what? I'm gonna be honest, I haven't found any negative health effects towards long-term breastfeeding. I thought maybe it would have been something, like you can't eat normal food or something like that, but really, beyond it being a little weird, apparently there's nothing. Even the American Academy of Family Physicians said there was no downside. I'm not saying I would do that with my own child, but yeah, there are no health downsides to doing it. I think the only actual downside I found was that breast milk doesn't contain an adequate amount of vitamin D, which I think Steve would get from normal food. And apparently some kids know to self-wean, so it wouldn't be a problem.
No freaks in the main house.
Those freaks make me sick!
You hear me down there, you weirdos?
Freaks! Freaks!
At least Stan and Jeff have reasons for being freaks. Jeff got into an accident and Stan was too lazy to just go to a tailor. But you know what? Maybe compared to Stan and Jeff, Francine and Steve, they aren't freaks. At least in comparison. Maybe I was simply projecting my own unconscious biases from society onto them. Maybe, in a way, I have internalized misogyny because I feel the need to judge what a woman does with her body. And maybe Francine is right. Maybe we should rethink our values.
Little Stevie! Time for bed!
Yeah, you know what? I take back whatever I just said. And you know what? People in my life have been telling me to get a mommy milker reduction, and I keep saying no because if I gain a bunch of weight, they'll just get bigger again. Or I do plan on having children one day, and maybe I want to breastfeed, which apparently you can't do if you get a breast reduction because then you lose all sensation. But you know what? I think this episode convinced me to get the procedure. I've decided. Francine, Steve, you single-handedly convinced me to deny every pervert in my comment section the chance to make comments about me, like I'm Sarah Lynn or Fizzarolli. Actually, Kitty, I don't think your insurance will cover the procedure because you're primarily doing it for cosmetic reasons, not medical reasons like back or shoulder pain. Oh. Crap, okay, I guess we're keeping them. As a result of being in the basement for a little over 3 months, Steve has regressed. That's a word.
Cooperate, young man.
Aw, crud, he's wearing the train outfit. He is wearing the train outfit. At least he won't have to worry about his choo-choo poo-poos. And we're back at it again with the choo-choo poo-poos. Francine sneaks back upstairs to check on Roger. Only it turns out he stopped making the documentary months ago.
I see what's happening here. You don't know I switched projects about a month ago.
You did? Why didn't you tell me?
Have you been down to the basement lately? It's a real weird scene down there.
You did not notice him not being there? Why did he stop? Because it ain't normal, and he's got the B-roll to prove it.
Except for the middle part, which is pure Stevie skin.
Stevie! Lunchtime!
Okay, I did not realize this was a reference to Grey Gardens, a documentary about Jackie O's aunt and cousin. They used to be rich and powerful elites until they lost all of their money, and all they had left was a mansion full of squalor. In fact, one of the subjects, her cousin, Little Eddie, who Steve seems to be representing, was stuck there despite all of her potential because she was forced to take care of her mother, who was an ailing woman stuck living in the past. Oh, like Francine. In fact, there's even a scene in that movie with a raccoon, just as there is one here. Thanks, episode. I kinda want to check out that documentary now. Alright, what's the moment?
E-I-E-I-O, with a milk here and a milk there. Here a milk, there a milk, everywhere a milk.
Okay, I'll be honest, I think this is the main moment I like the episode and why it sort of clouded my judgment. Again, it's weird and the episode acknowledges it's weird and I don't know. There's just something about Roger being like WTF that I find hilarious and makes me laugh out loud every single time.
Maybe the rocks were right.
Escúchame?
Oh my god. We are freaks.
Francine, that is what everybody was trying to tell you. Them and their damn rocks. Francine tells Steve they need to go back upstairs and start living their normal lives. But Steve, thanks to Francine, has been too stunted to listen. And now that he's cut off, he's turned into this.
Mama, I'm hungry!
Well, I ruined Steve.
Francine, no. What Steve needs is an experience.
Wait, stop the review. Stop the review. It's Habit Wine. Not only is it Jeff Fisher's username on Instagram, he's a pretty cool guy, check him out, but it's his personal brand of wine. Go buy some right now. Francine is trying to come up with ideas to get Steve to stop. As, let's be honest, saying sorry and giving him a card is not gonna cut it. Oh wait, Klaus, you're back. I guess you didn't disappear. That's weird. At least when Stan wanted to be sure you couldn't blab, he stuck you in the freezer. Francine gave you mercy. In comparison, that's when Francine gets a devilish idea.
He's allergic to bees!
You're gonna put bees in the milk?
Don't be an idiot, Klaus. Why work hard when you can work easy?
Therefore, she will expose herself to bees, and then feed Steve one final time. Wait, does milk work like that? And he will become so sick from this pseudo-radish cure that he will never want to try her milk again.
Oh! Your answer was so obvious. It's what any mother would do.
Yeah, don't get him therapy or anything. I'm sure y'all can't afford Dr. Penguin. As it turns out, Steve was in a coma from the amount of bee stings he ingested. And a lot happened.
I got remarried, lost my ring again, I rode a bike across Idaho, and I reconnected with my high school social studies teacher.
Oh, good for you, bruh. I mean, it sucks Steve lost a year of his life he can never get back, but at least Francine learned her lesson. Then again, Steve previously went into a coma because he ate enough trans fat to give him angina. Maybe he's just used to it by now.
The important thing is now I realize it's not the milk that connects us. It's our shared tendency to go a little cuckoo.
Yeah, no. Really, your mother did all of this to you and that's your response? Francine doesn't even give an actual apology. You know what, I don't care. Alright, I think that's another reason people don't like this episode. Francine effectively got off scot-free at the end. Honestly, it kinda reminds me of that King of the Hill episode where Peggy kept giving Hank testosterone supplements and hiding them in his food and his coffee, and poisoning Hank was only a problem when when it was a problem for Peggy. In that episode, she got off scot-free because Hank is such a stubborn prude that he thinks he has to keep the commitments he made. Here, I think it's worse because Peggy at least tried to help Hank after she came clean, as in giving him a patch. The only reason he refused it was to prove a point. Francine, nothing. Anyhow, was this episode good? Bad? I don't know. All I know is... I don't know. I am never eating ice cream again for as long as I live, or I get a hankering, or I go to Quick Check or Wawa, whatever comes first. Me.